What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great Tuesday. It's Crypto Vision here, back again with another crypto live stream. We got the monthly close. We're going to be covering a couple charts that are absolutely key to what's coming ahead, to the upside, to the downside. We're going to figure out what is going to happen. We're going to give our best thoughts on that. As always, I thank you for stopping by. I thank you for your time. If you're interested in a free Discord, I offer that. It'll be linked in the description. It has everything included, community chart shares, general chats, YouTube updates, X feed updates, keeps you in the loop. If you're interested in a more in-depth analysis, more tools at your disposal, I do offer a paid Patreon membership, and that includes more access into the Discord. So without further ado, let's get into it. I appreciate you stopping by. I thank you for your support. We are going to be checking out some charts today, whether or not, we're going to be doing a lot of monthly charts. We're just going to be looking at, what the monthly is telling us, what we can decipher from it, what we can, think about, that gives us the opportunity to think about what is in the cards for the future. Okay. So without, getting too much of a, you know, tailspin on a bunch of things, we're just going to check out Bitcoin first. We're going to check out Bitcoin. We're going to do a little bit of the comparative charts, and then we can hop into chart requests, okay? So as for Bitcoin, we are on the monthly chart. We're on the monthly chart here. I do want to add this right through there. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. So the monthly chart for Bitcoin is trying. This is the electricity cost. I just wanted to throw that up here for Bitcoin, just because everything else is, there's not enough data or information for the monthly chart for my autofib. Okay, so for Bitcoin, what we got here is, closing. Having this inverted hammer is great. It is beautiful. I love it. A lot of people are asking for a red monthly chart, a red monthly candle. So you can break the, you have 6 consecutive red candles. It's never been done before. It's going to be green the next month. You gotta get out of that mindset. You can't look for something that happened one time and be like, okay, well, it happened once, it's gonna happen again. Screw that. Let's close with the inverted hammer. Okay, bullish inverted hammer. Let's close a green candle. Okay, above the 50 EMA. Okay, I do have the I do want to put the monthly on here. I do want to put the monthly on here. Where is it? Right there at 66,967. That's the monthly. 66,967. I just don't want a whole bunch of stuff on there right now. A little bit more clean look, right? A little bit more clean look, but 66,967. Okay, so for this to be bullish, have bullish continuation, right? The next candle will need to close above this open. Okay, so we close up through here. The next candle needs to close up through here. That's, some people say you gotta backfill the entire wick. That's not true. You just need to close. You just need to have a consecutive close above this, and that is showing that the downside pressure, because you can see this, right? You can see this right through here, right? Is being nullified. It's being absorbed. It's not causing an absolute collapse that this did. This caused, boom, collapse, right? That caused a huge collapse. Okay, what you're looking at when you have these large wicks, when these large wicked candles, okay, and then you have a reversal, you have that green. That's when you're looking for that reversal. Okay, and so what we're looking at now is Bitcoin trying to bounce off the 50 on the monthly chart. If we get that, that'll be great. That'll be awesome, and that is going to lead to something that I think a lot of people aren't prepared for. Okay, on the monthly chart, for everything else, right? We can take out the electricity because that's going to run in every other chart. Monthly chart, the RSI is actually, it's not going down anymore, right? It's kind of just going sideways, and that's great. That's great, right? You had something like that through here. It's going sideways. I know it was on the uptrend, but what about down through here? This is kind of going down. It was kind of going down. It wasn't really going sideways. It kind of went up, actually, and then it went sideways a little bit. Okay, a little bit sideways right through here. So, possibilities of a continuation. once we get this closed. It's gonna be spicy. I'm gonna be going live tomorrow too, so we can follow up on everything that we're talking about today. Okay. Big key levels at this 83,000 up to 88,000 for Bitcoin, and a bunch more. Okay. Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance. It's looking like we're closing down below the 20 EMA, right? We talked about this yesterday. I talked about it on the Discord. This is something where, we're looking for Bitcoin dominance to come all the way down here on the Fu Manchu, okay? All the way down through here. Okay, just how we did last time, right? You closed down below on the 20 EMA. Okay, what'd you do? You tanked. What'd you do on the Fu Manchu? You absolutely tanked. All that momentum went to the downside, okay? We are, at least for the monthly, the Bitcoin dominance is still above the 50. It's hard to believe. I know it. I know it's hard to believe, right? It's just so people can get a visual representation that those dotted lines sometimes they don't cut it. They don't cut it. Okay. So what we got here is it's still above the 50. It's still above the 50. What happened after it closed down below this 20 EMA on the monthly? Well, it also closed down below the 50 on the RSI. Okay. So what we're looking for now is this close down below the 20, close down below the 50. Okay. But, we close down below the 50, pardon me. And we're looking for this momentum to come all the way down, and then you can come back up. Okay. So Bitcoin dominance, like we talked about the other day, is looking like it wants to close down below a key level. And we'll see. We have this pattern mapped out. We have April as this last month, right? So I guess we really could go sideways for the whole month of April too. And then May is that real deciding factor. It's like May is that deciding factor. This is just an idea for timing. This is just an idea for, so we're not just flying blind. We're not just, we have there's reasoning for the bullishness that we have. There's reasoning for us predicting a move. It's not just, it's next month, it's next month, it's next month. Realistically, this can go sideways for one more month. That can fit one more candle in there. And it's resting right on that trend line. So realistically, you can come right back up, reject, and then come down. Okay, so a lot of possibilities, but we're getting closer and closer to the time frame that we've been talking about, the end of March, beginning the middle of April, where we're looking for some kind of move. We're looking for something to be had. Okay, it's been price action's been going sideways for a long time. And so it's been lulling a lot of people to sleep. A lot of people are expecting, there's a bear flag going on for Bitcoin. It's going to drop down to 40,000, 30,000. I've seen 15,000. I've seen some crazy numbers out there, right? When you're at the lows, those numbers just continue to get lower and lower. I swear it. So we're looking at gold versus Bitcoin. This thing, I mean, it bounced perfectly on a previous area of resistance, previous area of support, came back down, back tested, closing above. That's good. That's what you want to see. It's exactly what you want to see. If there is any kind of idea that this chart could go lower, there is the idea that you still need one more low, but you don't take out previous lows. This has been up and to the right, up and to the right. That's a bullish chart. Okay, up and to the right. When you're looking at charts and when someone says up and to the right, this is what they mean. Okay, this is what they mean. It's the idea that you're not taking out previous lows. You're not taking out previous lows. Okay, you're not resetting every single time. You're forming a new base, a new floor. So this could be the new floor. This was the new floor. This was the new floor. This was the new floor. You see that? So just a visual representation of what it looks like to continually grow as an asset class, okay? And so that's what we're looking for gold versus Bitcoin, Bitcoin versus gold. It is turning up. This is very nice. It's down here at these lows. It's down here at these lows where you had a buying opportunity down here. I mean, it's actually even lower. It's even lower. That's incredible. That's incredible. That's bullish. Okay, that's bullish. So you got what you have here. Wow, this is actually really interesting. So you got lower. So you have a this is lower than this, and this is lower than this. So this is the low. This is the most oversold this chart has ever been, ever, ever been, and it is from this low where it's at right now. It's up 677%. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most oversold this chart has ever been in its history. In its history. Okay? And it's up 600% from the lows. Okay? From the lows, it's up 600%. Can we, can you still get sold off? I mean, it's already at the lowest point in history. Would it really surprise me if it next month it kind of went sideways and came back down a little bit? No, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't. You kind of did that over here. Unless you, I mean, here is the thing though. This was a very large candle. So if we invert this chart, let's go ahead and zoom in through here. Because I know people will have their doubts. And that's good. That's good. You got to have your doubts. You got to be thinking for yourself. Okay. You came up through here and you almost like impulsed up, and then you kind of flagged out, and then you broke down like that. Okay. That's the difference. Okay. That's the difference. Where we're at right now is it's already, right, it's impulsed. Okay, so what are we doing? Are we gonna flag out in here and then go like that? That would be the only idea that, this is something different. But this candle, this is a bullish engulfing candle. This is different than this. That's different. It's way different because this is in the entirety of this candle is taken out now to the upside. Okay, so it's all been eaten up. So that I think it's a bullish looking situation we got going on. So right now I'm looking for gold to continue correcting, and Bitcoin to find its way. Okay, XLM, we got to talk about XLM. XLM here on the monthly chart, we are fighting to stay above this 100 on the EMAs, fighting to stay above that 100. Okay, when you really lose that 100, that's when it's you enter into an accumulation mode to the downside. So really trying to stay above that, really trying to fight, and see if XLM can find a reversal. I mean, this RSI is looking extremely bullish. It is. You're oversold, right? You're oversold. Extremely bullish. I like when RSIs do this. Almost like this, but at a more drastic rate. Almost like that. Right? Almost like that. Okay. I mean, this thing is just curving, and now it's pointing up. So it's looking like we wanna do something. What's up? What's up, Banano? I got you. I'll get into Coin. I'm gonna be checking out PNG. I'll be checking all those out. I'm just looking at some of the macro stuff things right now. I just checked out XLM because it bounced above a key level that I was watching. Okay, Ethereum versus Bitcoin. We've been tracking this chart for a while now. We have the idea that, I mean, this thing is absolutely beautiful. I don't know how people are bearish on this. I don't know how you can be bearish on Ethereum. I don't know how you can be bearish on altcoins. This is beautiful. This is such a nice looking pattern right here. This is, you got this almost an atom. Maybe you're going to come up for an Eve pattern, and then you flag out, and then you go. That'll take months, right? That'll take, because this is the monthly chart. This is that monthly chart, but you're right at your trend line. Your RSI looks very, very bullish, very bullish. You've came down, didn't cross under your moving average. You're bouncing above your moving average, so that's going to set up April to be very nice. It's going to set up April to be very nice. We're going to see whether or not Ethereum can break out and do some great things. I'm going to be watching this chart and updating this chart on the through Discord, Patreon. So if you're interested in that, that's another aspect of what we're looking at. I kind of want to take this stuff out just so I can see the trend lines. Yep, very oversold. Very oversold. The most I think it's been oversold. I think it's the most it's been oversold. Others chart. Yeah, I mean you're way higher, right? So you were way oversold down through here, and that started that next run. Did you go straight up? No, you didn't. You had a 1-2, right? You had a 1-2. You almost came up to your one to your 50, and then you came back down, and then you went. So we could see that, right? We could see that in April, come back down in May, and then kind of grip it and rip it, right? So I'm expecting something. You got a doji candle on the very bottom of 5 consecutive red months. Right, you got a doji candle, which is great. You're very oversold. Okay, so these are the conditions that we look for when I'm entering an asset class. Okay, how beat up is the asset class? Is it going to go away? Is it going to fade away? Right, you don't want to invest in something that has no value. But obviously, crypto isn't going anywhere. Okay, we got to admit, crypto isn't going anywhere. Banks are fighting over it. Exchanges are fighting over it. Politicians are fighting over it. The president is saying that he's going to be crypto capital of the world, right? It's not going anywhere. Okay, so if you can invest, you pick certain times to invest in an asset class that's been beat up, and everything gets beat up. Precious metals get beat up. Nvidia gets beat up. Apple, Microsoft, you name it. Extremely valuable asset classes get beat up all the time, and that's when you try to. Especially for me, that's when I try to, get in. Again, my backstory is that's when I really started to invest in that COVID. When everything dropped on COVID, I just went crazy. Bought up almost everything I could. Put in all my savings into all of these blue chip stocks that were, Tesla I got at like $98, right? And it was incredible. General Dynamics I got at extremely low prices. Apple I got at extremely low prices. Countless Microsoft. I mean, anything that you can think of. That's what I was invested in, and it's no different than the crypto class. And so that's why it's crazy to say it, but I'm still been buying. It's hard to fathom, but when you're down here on a trend line, that's been key since 2022. You're the most oversold. Your asset class isn't going anywhere. I don't care what people say is, oh, crypto's going to zero. Some crypto's going to zero. Yeah, it might, but as of right now, it's extremely oversold, and it looks like it wants to do the complete opposite of what the herd is saying. The herd is saying it's going down, it's going down, it's going down. Everything is going to zero. So that's kind of that's my soapbox for today. The Russell, you do have a red dot on the Russell. You do have a red dot on the Russell. The last time the Russell had a red dot, you went down for the next 3 months. Not great. Typically, the Russell is associated with crypto. When the Russell looks good, crypto looks good. So it's not great, if I'm being honest. You could possibly come down. We've talked about the Russell for a while. I don't think any of all my stuff is on the weekly, so I can talk about the Russell. I mean, I can just pull it up real quick. We're thinking of 2340. Where's that put us? 2340, right? Like right here. I mean, I don't typically use the monthly, but 23. So, but like right around this 20 EMA, maybe you wick down below the 20 EMA, and then you start to reverse. But it does look like it wants to correct. So we can take that with a grain of salt. Yes, sir. What up, Gonzalez? Appreciate you stopping by. Yes, I will take a look at Panglion on the weekly. Panglion, that's PNG, right? On the weekly time frame and the monthly. I got you, brother. Thanks for stopping by. So what we got here, yeah, the Russell kind of looks a little bit bearish, right? A little bit bearish. It does look like it's probably going to break down below this moving average on the RSI, and then find its base, find its footing. The thing is, with this sell-off, it did have, 2021 all the way to 2025, 4-year bearish divergence, right? A 4-year bearish divergence from here to here. Oh, that line was almost perfect. Then it kind of tanked. So maybe the correction isn't as deep. Maybe you just bounce right up here and you kind of just reset. Okay. So we have 2340. So we're looking for a little bit lower on the Russell. If you don't know, the Russell is your low cap stocks, your kind of high risk, low credit stocks. So, things like, I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I guaranteed something like ABVE, right? This is a $45 million stock. This would be on the Russell, something like that. Okay. Um, Something like that. Where are we at? The Russell, this comes out tomorrow, the PMI. This will come out tomorrow. It's forecasted to be at 56. If it's at 56, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be insane. People are going to be chomping at the bit to get invested because things are expanding, right? I know rumors of the war are coming to an end, but until you see decisive action on that front, I do think the market will still kind of go sideways. Once the war ends, people are really unexpecting the value of the certainty that the war is over. And then, we can focus on getting oil from Venezuela. Our embassy just opened up over there, taxing all of the European Union that will not, deliver any kind of support, right? Because they're going to get taxed out the wazoo for their oil now. There's no more freebies. China's probably going to have to pay extra. I mean, anyone getting oil out of that area is going to be. I think oil is probably going to stay up for a little bit until some of the concessions are met, because I think that's the big thing for Iran is they want money to rebuild what has been destroyed. So they're going to try to get concessions through that. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I could just be blowing smoke, but this should be at 56. This is a manufacturing index, so that means we're booming in America. That's great to see. Stablecoin dominance. Stablecoin dominance is the bane of my existence. I absolutely despise this chart, but I have to cover it every single day. Not every day, but I do have to cover it a lot, and it's something where it's like morning traffic if you lived in LA. I don't live in LA, but it's just something that you have to deal with every day. You have to face. You can't ignore it. This does look nice. You came up through here and you're rejecting the overbought zone. It does look nice. Can you do something like this where you reject and you just tank? Possibly. It's kind of this bearish channel that you're forming. You're just forming this nice bearish channel. But it's at the bottom of the channel, so we know what happens. There is a hangman here. There's a hangman. So what we can see, hopefully, is this wick be filled, drop out, come back, test some lows, and that would allow the 1-2 setup, because you still need that 1-2 setup for crypto. So what I mean by that is, Bitcoin's not just going to run up. It's going to need like a 1. All right, Bitcoin's going to need like a 1, 2. And during this 2, that's when that stablecoin dominance can run up again. So during this, stablecoin dominance is collapsing. We're flagging out. Stablecoin dominance is rising up. You come up through here. Hopefully it's not a three-way move. If it's a three-way move, death and destruction to all crypto. Right? I've been saying that for a while. That's kind of what's going on, for me at least in my thought process. If we're combining stablecoins, and so here's a big one. If we're combining stablecoins and Bitcoin dominance, because Bitcoin dominance is so weak, we get this chart. Right? A lot of people don't know about this chart, but this has been an extremely bearish formation, even more bearish than the other ones, just because Bitcoin is tanking, right? We already talked about, Bitcoin dominance is tanking. So we close down below here. We're going to close down below this wedge, and that should lead to Bitcoin dominance falling. All indications are pointing that Bitcoin dominance is going to fall. Does it have to respect anything that I'm talking about? No, it doesn't, because Bitcoin dominance has a mind of its own, and it will do what it wants, okay? So this is a great chart that we're looking at. Until we get this closed down below, down below this 20, then I'm not really, I'm not super excited yet. But still optimistic, cautiously optimistic, if that is something that, makes sense to you. Look at DJT is doing great. SPY, my Snapchat buy is looking great. I got into that on the Profit Lab series. So if you're interested in the Profit Lab series, I don't cover just crypto. I do traditional stocks as well. So what else did I want to look at? Maybe total 3 versus Bitcoin. I wanted to look at total 2 versus Bitcoin, if I'm being honest. Okay, if I'm being honest, where is this? Right here. So if we just get rid of all the noise, we get rid of all the noise. Look how beautiful that looks. Look how beautiful that looks. You have, this is on the monthly chart, ladies and gentlemen. This is on the monthly chart, okay? So you have what, 5 months you tank. And what do? You just grip it and rip it. You get out of there, right? You get out of there in a couple months. You go sideways, right? You just go sideways, and now what are you doing? You're bouncing out. We have 10.21. 10.21. I'll bring it back now. Sometimes I just like the clear charts, you know. So we got that 10.21. What we're looking for now, I mean, I know a lot of people are bearish on everything. This is just another chart. I'm not just bullish for no reason. I'm not just talking out of my butt. I'm not just putting a fib up. This is a previous area of resistance. Okay, previous area of resistance. You came up right here. You rejected. Okay, and you absolutely tanked. You came over through here. You tried to bounce a bunch of times. You fought through a bunch of times. You came up and rejected. Okay, so just we're establishing that 10.21 is a significant area. Okay, and what you do, you break out. You came back below for a week or two. We were a little bit nervous. We were saying, okay, you know, maybe you're falling through. Maybe we're not ready yet. But then you come right back up. There's a reason for that. And the reason is Ethereum is gaining strength. Ethereum is gaining strength. I know people hate on Ethereum because it barely broke all-time highs, but it's gaining strength and it's going to freaking blow people's minds away. I did close my position, but I'm going to open it up again depending on. I do think the monthly open tomorrow will be a little bit bearish, which I kind of want. Build that bearish candle, and that's when I'm going to look to enter. Especially that, maybe some other assets that'll be left for the Profit Lab series for the Patreon members. But for this chart, we're looking for a close above 10.21 and then off to the races. Okay, so that's a great chart we're looking at. It's a very bullish chart we're looking at. Bullish formation. And yeah, and then total 2 versus Bitcoin. This chart, I mean, people they just don't understand it. They don't understand it. Where is my weekly? Is it on the weekly? Yeah, it's on the weekly. But I guess we'll leave it on the monthly just because that's kind of what we're going for right now. It's total 2 versus Bitcoin. All right, total 2 versus Bitcoin. So this is, you know, you remove Ethereum out of this. And so what you got going on is it's right at this key level, 14.21. No hindsight. We don't go back. We don't change up the levels. We put this level on here a long time ago. You impulsed out. Okay. I mean, I can even draw a trend line on here for y'all so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. You back test an area. Beautifully done. So I'm not even going to draw the lower aspect of it because it's not warranted. Okay, so you came through here, you oscillate, almost a three-way move, some type of flat pattern because you don't take out any lows over here. Okay, you don't take out any lows. Okay, and then you break out, you back test, and you're sitting right on top of your 20 EMA. Your 20 EMA is at 14.04. You're at 14.03. Extremely bullish, ladies and gentlemen. I know it. I keep saying the same thing, but you come up through here and you're forming like this. You're cupping into resistance. That's exactly what you want to do. You don't want to be cupping into support. You don't want to be doing this because then you're going to, boom, sky is falling. You're asking why. You're blaming everybody. You're getting pissed off. This is what you want to see. You want to see this. You're cupping into resistance, cupping into resistance, and you're off to the races. Okay? So some bullish charts on the macro. This is why I'm bullish. These are the reasons why I'm bullish. I've given you those reasons. So let's go ahead and check out some charts. ABT, man. Sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes you're good. But I always say it's better to be lucky than good. Okay. So ABT. We were talking about ABT on a full video breakdown. I talked about ABT in the Patreon for hey, pay attention to this chart. Pay attention to this. We've been charting it. So, if you're in the Patreon, if you're on the Discord, right? The Discord doesn't get as much information, but it's still viable, right? It's still viable. You're up right at a first key area for 72% profit. Taking profit right there. That's a profit taking range. All right, and this is what I offer through through my services, right? Through what I give out. I'm not trying to get rich quick. I'm not trying to just throw out a bunch of BS. It's what I do. And so, right, this is that first level that I've talked about, taking profits, taking some off the table. You're up 72%. Crypto Vision, taking some. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice, but that's what I do. And guess what? The next profit zone is 63%. The next profit zone is 100. It's 100. Could you imagine $100, $1.02? Okay, and so you have these areas. They're mapped out. No hindsight, right? I don't go back and change the levels. You can go back and watch the video. Everything is done in the video. We go back. I grade myself, right? My viewers grade me. Sometimes I do bad. Sometimes I do poorly, and those are the videos where I learn the most. And sometimes they're like this, where it comes up, hits a level perfectly, takes some profits, have a smile on your face, take your girl out to dinner, right? And don't tell her where the funds came from. Just surprise her. Be like, hey, we're going out to dinner. Don't ask any questions. Just take her out to dinner. Have a good time. Enjoy yourself. Life is short. Enjoy the moments that you succeed, right? That's kind of the concept I have in life. Okay, so we're going to be checking out AVAX is a great. I think AVAX is looking good. We're going to be checking out Cookie DAO. I know I was looking right at Cookie DAO. I'll look at Cookie DAO. We're going to be checking out Saya coin per Banano. All right, on the monthly. Oh, this is on the weekly chart. So this is exactly what I do for something like something exactly I do for your coins that you request. I do this on the paid Patreon membership. And so you don't got to wait for my lives, for my videos. You just get it instantly. You don't got to wait. Some people are just, it's that JG Wentworth commercial. It's my money and I want it now, and I don't blame people. When you're dealing with assets as volatile as crypto, you want instant chart updates, right? And that's something that, if you're interested in, go ahead and check it out. Saya coin, you're right at that brink of breaking out. We do have a lower level of 0.000732, but same thing, right? You come up to 0016, taking some off the table. That's what I do think a lot of these coins are going to do, right? You got this. You came up through here. You're cupping into resistance. What do I think it's going to do now? I think it's going to cut back into resistance. What do I think it's going to happen? I think it's going to flag out. And what do I think it's going to do? I think it's going to cup into resistance and break out. And so I'm targeting 6. If I'm trying to accumulate, that's how people accumulate. It's not you unload the clip at a low and you hold on to it. It's at a previous low, you buy and you sell at resistance. Maybe it's 10%, but that 10% you can turn and then you can add it down here, and then you buy, and then you sell 10%, 20%. And then you come back through here and you buy 10%, 20%. So you're averaging down your costs, you're adding more, you're accumulating more, and you're in a great position to succeed because you have a manageable trade. You're not just buying because somebody on Twitter or X, pardon me, or YouTube told you to buy it. It's you did your own research, you have a plan, you're following some kind of strategy, and you're sticking to it. So I do think Saya coin, I do think you're going to come back up through here. You do have lower levels. Can you correct down lower to 0.00732? Yes, you can, of course. Of course, you're in between the range. Okay? So that's what I got for you, Banano. That's what I got for you. There is a red dot on the weekly, so I'd be I'll be watching for possibly a little bit lower prices, but it is a $50 million asset. It's pretty small. All right, yeah, I got you. I'm going to get to Cookie, brother. I promise. I will get to Cookie. I promise. I'm going to be checking out PNG, and then I can get to Cookie. So PNG is, right. This thing bounced right on the monthly open. Not even. This is crazy. Okay. Came down. Stayed right. PNG is got to be one of the most crazy assets, just because it is a $6 million asset. So this thing can absolutely fly. We got, you got a beautiful low forming. This is a beautiful low. I do think it's a beautiful low. Okay, you're almost dripping. It almost looks like TARS AI. Okay, I can look at TARS AI where you're kind of leaky, right? You sold off, and then what is this over here? You're not really doing anything. You are going down. You're going down, but there's no sell side pressure. It's a $6 million asset. There's no sell side pressure. One whale could come in here, throw $10 million in, and that's already it does a 1x. Okay, so this is leaky up in here. Okay, the fact that you came up. I mean, I had 4528. This came up to 4485. Potato. Right, this was just like I was saying with, what was I saying that with? I can't even freaking remember. ABT. Just like I was saying with ABT. Okay, these key levels are areas that I personally would take profits at. Doesn't have to be 100% profits, but 10%, 15%, 20%. Right, I would have taken profits right there. De-risked a little bit. Come back down. If I'm bullish on PNG, if I think PNG is gonna, provide some return on investment that I am okay with the risk appetite that is tied to that, then I'm buying, or sorry, I'm selling, and I'm buying. It's extremely. I try to make it as simple as possible, especially for the Patreon members, because they get snapshots, they get updates per request. So they're updated on, oh, hey, CryptoVision, what would you do here? Well, for me personally, this is what I would do. Okay, appreciate it, thanks, bro. And it just moves on just like that. So for your question, Misa, I do think that it is in here, coming in here. I do like the way this looks. Like this, you're coming in like this. I'd almost like a breakout. Do I have any? I do have a group that's hidden. Okay, I do have. See, I have more levels up through here. I have way more levels up through here. But I just, for all intents and purposes, I do like clean charts, and it does those upper levels really don't matter right now until you break 4528. You're in this range 4528, and at this point now you're at 2561. So just, you know thinking about, dreaming about prices up at 30 to 40 cents, I think can get you into trouble, especially for PNG, because then you have that expectation of, okay, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that. For me, I like my viewers to be like, you know what, we're in a range. We have the ability to go lower, right? We do have the ability to go lower, but, there is a key level. Once we break this key level, okay, now I can start getting excited about some higher price levels. Now now I can really start to hone in on where I'm selling, how I'm going to sell, what percentages I'm going to sell. Because it gets hard. It gets hard to try to sell, to convince yourself to sell an asset that's pumping. You're like, how I'm not going to sell. You're crazy. This thing's going to, change my life. And, that's where I differ, where I take profits. Profits never hurt the pockets, baby. So this is on the weekly. This is what I got. I'm going to make sure it's not on the monthly. Yeah, I don't want this on the monthly. So this is what I got for the weekly. I'm looking for a breakout. Looking for a breakout next week, right? Next week. So this week, kind of chop around. Next week, looking for something that can be a little bit more, decisive. We had all this bullish momentum on my indicators. You're still going sideways on your RSI, but you're coming up to this sell side wall. You're coming up to that sell side wall. So, it does look nice. I'm not gonna lie. This looks nice where you're coming right up to this area. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. You're cupping into resistance. Nope, couldn't do it. Cup into resistance. Cup into resistance. Now you're just kind of chilling. I think a very strong move is warranted. It's needed because you got to break above 2. It's a double entendre. Okay, you got to break above the 2. I'll leave that on there, and I can come back to that on the next live, or I don't know if I'll, if you stop by and you request PNG, I'll cover PNG for you. It's not a big deal to me. I'm trying to make it together with everybody. It's not a me thing. It's a we thing. All right. So staying above your monthly open, it's beautiful. It's what you like to see. Consolidating. Okay, so we're going to be checking out TARS AI. I'm thinking TARS AI is a beautiful setup right now. TARS AI, I know it's a little bit red today, but I think TARS AI is a beautiful setup. This is something that I'm looking really into and getting into. All right, breaking out, going sideways. I do think, you can come up to this 2-cent mark. I do, which would be nice. I might be getting into TARS. Might be getting into Tarsy. Look at Solana. Bouncing right on this zone, right in this area. You can't make it up sometimes. You cannot make it up. I didn't move the box. I just dragged it over. I didn't move the box. I promise I didn't move the box. All right, Cookie Dow or Cookie Dow. Cookie Dow. I've had this idea for a while. Took out some lows. Right, took out some lows. Let's do this. All right, let's do this. Let's do this one. Something like this, right? Something like this. Cookie Dow is such a, again, small. A lot of these small coins are, I think, a lot of sell side pressure has already been established. It did take out my lows. I'm not gonna lie. It took out my lows, right? This is a, see, if I'm grading myself, I give myself a C minus, just because it took everything out. It takes out all my levels. I wasn't bearish, not bearish enough, but I didn't think that, you know, price could go that low, and I need to be better with that. But I did have some lower prices. You know, we've talked about this a long time ago. You know, it's been tough for Cookie. It's been tough for Cookie, but there is good news. There is very good news. Okay, you're down at a very oversold area. I mean, you're extremely oversold. You had this bullish divergence, and nothing has played out. Right, nothing has played out. But I've been watching Cookie, and I've been waiting. I've just been waiting for this cross to see if this can cross above. All right, if this can get above. I thought I could try it right there. I was gonna make a video. It didn't, so I'm not gonna try to get people's hopes up. You know, if you're someone that's, you know, you're invested in Cookie, you're waiting on Cookie updates. Hey, join the Discord, drop it on the live stream, and I'll cover Cookie more often. But you know, until it actually does something, I think it's gonna go sideways. We are back above 1599, so 1955 is a key area to defeat. But really, the monthly open, you got to get. I mean, it closes today, so this monthly open is going to move. Right, it's going to move. It has to move, and so what we have to think about is the new monthly open. You cannot, assets like Cookie cannot afford just to lose the monthly open. So let's say we close right here. Okay, let's say we close right there. That's the new monthly open, right? And then the candle, you start going up and you build a wick, and then you tank down. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. So I'm actually looking for Cookie. I'm looking for almost everything to, you know, the monthly close. So tomorrow, starting tonight at 5 p.m. my time, I do think crypto is going to correct. I do think so. Build a bullish wick. You got to start bearish, right? You can't start with these bullish wicks, right? You can't start with these bullish wicks. So this is what the last 2 months have started, March and April. Sorry, this is on the weekly. I'm ridiculous right now. I mean, it's not like I'm wrong. I'm just, all right. Look at this. Look at this chart. All right, look at this chart. You started. I mean, you started up on the. You went up, and then boom, slammed down. Same. Oh, let me get over here. All of these. Look at. It's frustrating to even look at. I mean, you're just, all these wicks mean you started to the upside. You went up, and then you just tanked down, and then you kind of found yourself up a little bit. Right? You kind of had a nice end of month rally to minimize the losses. But overall, I mean, this is brutal. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months in a row of red. 10 months. There's only so much sell side pressure an asset can withstand, but also that market makers will do, because there's just no money involved in it. It's at this point, this asset is beat to the horse is dead, and you know, they haven't left it alone quite yet. But we're trying to close above 1599. Would be very nice to come up through here at this resistance level 4633. I would definitely, if it comes up to here, you know, if I'm a Cookie Dow holder, I'm taking a lot off the table. For me personally, right? I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice, but for me personally, if an asset is coming right up to resistance, okay, after going down for months and months and months and months, more than likely it's going to need to show some strength and flag out and be constructive. Right? Be constructive. Don't just find a new low. Okay. So that's what I got for Cookie Dow. Um, if you guys have any other requests, I can get to those requests. I did want to check out one more asset, and if there is no request, I'll end it. But I did want to check out Ethereum. Ethereum. All right, Ethereum is, man. I lost my arrow. I gotta be uniform. I gotta be uniform. Where's my trend line? Where is it? Okay. I'll just use this trend line. Okay. I'll just use that trend line for the weekly. I thought I had a different trend line. I'm sorry. So Ethereum, right? We need Ethereum. We looked at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which was bullish. We looked at total 2 versus Bitcoin, okay, which is bullish. So that excludes Ethereum. And then we looked at total. Sorry, that doesn't exclude Ethereum. Then we looked at total 3, which excludes Ethereum, right? So what I think is going on, right, is people are very, very, very bearish. We've already established that. So for me personally, right, Ethereum, we had this green dot down back here in the beginning of March, and we're getting across above the moving average on the RSI as we're bouncing off a golden zone. Okay, you did that previously right here. Okay, so you bounce off a golden zone. What'd you do? You ran up. Bounce off a golden zone. What'd you do? You ran up. Both instances, yes, there was a correction. Correction. Okay, so we have to keep that in mind. Corrections are okay as long as they're not taking out previous lows. They're not being regressive. They're not, unstable and things like that. So Ethereum's looking very bullish. Do we have anything on the 2-week? Not yet. The 2-week, that means that 2-week dot faded because there was a 2-week green buy dot. There was one. So it faded, which isn't the greatest, right? It isn't the greatest look. You still got 12 days. I do want to check out this candle. Is there any wick to the downside? Okay, there is. I thought it was a wickless. If that was a wickless candle, I would be extremely scared. I'd be very, very paranoid just because wickless candles normally don't end well for assets going in that direction, right? So, looking for a green dot once we get down through here. I think this is on the 1 week. Yeah, we need to keep this on the 1 week. Right? So, down through here. That last couple times you bounced. Okay? So, that's what we're looking for Ethereum on the monthly chart. It's bouncing right off a key area, okay? Ethereum is bouncing off a key area. I mean, almost identical to April. The bear market lows back in 2022 did take this out very quickly. It was very quick. It was a 1-month ordeal. So it was a ripping off of the band-aid, so to speak. But it is bouncing off, and it looks very nice. It does look very nice. If we need to, consolidate a little bit more, maybe for another month, then that would be okay. But overall, I do think Ethereum is looking good. We do have targets. Do we have targets on the monthly? Maybe it's on the weekly. Yep, I got targets all the way up to 7,900. That's what I got targets up to. So really, it would really shock the world for Ethereum to be up through here. Ethereum to go up 280% would be amazing. Okay, would be great for all of crypto. Okay. There is some things there's some good price action going on today. A little bit of good price action today on the close. So overall, we're just waiting on that. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate your time. I appreciate your support. If you're interested in the free Discord, it'll be linked in the description. I also offer that paid Patreon membership that I talked about. If you're interested, as always, I'll be going live tomorrow, relatively the same time. I got some other stuff going on. So, as always, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your support. I thank you for stopping by. I hope you have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week. Take it easy. Peace.